Howdy, y'all. This is Proverbs 29 in the New Living Translation for August 29, 2023. Whoever stubbornly refuses to accept criticism will suddenly be destroyed beyond recovery. When the godly are in authority, the people rejoice, but when the wicked are in power, they groan. The man who loves wisdom brings joy to his father, but if he hangs around with prostitutes, his wealth is wasted. A just king gives stability to his nation, but one who demands bribes destroys it. To flatter friends is to lay a trap for their feet. Evil people are trapped by sin, but the righteous escape, shouting for joy. The godly care about the rights of the poor, the wicked don't care at all. Mockers can get a whole town agitated, but the wise will calm anger. If a wise person takes a fool to court, there will be ranting and ridicule, but no satisfaction. The bloodthirsty hate blameless people, but the upright seek to help them. Fools vent their anger, but the wise quietly hold it back. If a ruler pays attention to liars, all his advisors will be wicked. The poor and the oppressor have this in common: the Lord gives sight to the eyes of both. If a king judges the poor fairly, his throne will last forever. To discipline a child produces wisdom, but a mother is disgraced by an undisciplined child. When the wicked are in authority, sin flourishes, but the godly will live to see their downfall. Discipline your children, and they will give you peace of mind and will make your heart glad. When people do not accept divine guidance, they run wild, but whoever obeys the law is joyful. Words alone will not discipline a servant. The words may be understood, but they're not heeded. There's more hope for a fool than for someone who speaks without thinking. A servant pampered from childhood will become a rebel. An angry person starts fights. A hot-tempered person commits all kinds of sin. Pride ends in humiliation, while humility brings honor. If you assist a thief, you only hurt yourself. You're sworn to tell the truth, but you dare not testify. Fearing people is a dangerous trap, but trusting the Lord means safety. Many seek the ruler's favor, but justice comes from the Lord. The righteous despise the unjust. The wicked despise the godly. All right, so it is in fact August 30th. Last night, by the time I was ready to leave the house, it was well after 1 a.m. So I was trying to rush out when the lady got home, but because it was a bonus for deliveries, but it didn't work out. We sat, talked, I heard about her day while she ate, and had to wake up the kiddo and get him showered with her, and after all that, why go out for an hour to sit in a parking lot and talk at the camera in the dark, and or I was going to go sit on my stool in my studio in progress, but it was so late I didn't want to squint into the ring light because I just could feel how tired I looked. So despite reading it, read it to myself regardless, I feel like 28 is a reflection of 27 and 29. I mean, there's a lot of themes from other ones, but my mistake. If you happen to watch this every day and you were looking forward to it, then sorry, you got 2 to catch up with. But if you don't accept criticism, if you don't fix the little problems as people point them out to you, when the dam breaks, it's sudden calamity. So listen to what people are telling you. And like this, when the godly are in authority, the people rejoice, the same as yesterday, or 28. We don't celebrate when the wicked are in power because nobody knows who's going to suffer under them, right? The man who loves wisdom. Try to instill that in your children. Sorry, looking for it, but it's further down. I'm not fighting with a friend, but we've been having some lively discussion. I touched a nerve, and We're talking about the historical person of Jesus. And he said that if today it was proven that there was no such person as Jesus ever existed, it wouldn't affect his faith. And that told him that was the saddest thing I had ever heard him say, and he didn't understand. But it's either you understand the gospel and you reject it, or, as I think is truly the case, you don't understand the gospel. You think you do. And he's following Christ of his own construction. So, to flatter friends is to lay a trap for their feet. I have to tell him when I disagree, and even if he thinks I don't know what I'm talking about, I have to at least speak up. As if I tell him, like, oh, yes, you're wise, very wise. And he is. He's a very smart, very wise person, but at the end of the day, the fear of the Lord, Yahweh, is the beginning of wisdom. And I think he's got a lot of things right, and he's got a lot of good takes. But at the end of the day, there's only one way. Jesus said it was him. What are you going to do with that? So I'm not going to lay a trap for his feet by tacitly agreeing and tell him that I think he's right. In the same way that we don't affirm people, we're polite to them. But it's come to the point, and I agree with Melissa Doherty from my own experience as well, that if we affirm people, we have no right to tell them anything. So if you say to somebody, like, you're not sick and you're not crazy, but then later you want to tell them, like, hey, maybe you should see a doctor. Why? You said I'm not sick. Well, why would I see a doctor? That's silly. Fools, wicked, mockers, whatever. If a wise person takes a fool to court, there will be ranting and ridicule, but no satisfaction. So what do? I mean, I guess in like property rights, things like that, it might be settled, but it's like the tar baby. We just need to avoid fools. The more we mess with them, the more we're entangled, and the worse that we are for it. The bloodthirsty hate blameless people, but the upright seek to help them. That's an interesting statement. Not because the upright seek to help them. That seems par for course, but the bloodthirsty hate them. They didn't do anything. Why do you hate them? Just because blind with rage and bloodlust, I suppose. Because fools vent their anger. Wise quietly hold it back. Like I've said so many times. Shh, shh, shh. Take a giant breath through your mouth and count to 10. Through your nose if you can do it. It's ragweed season. So if you can't, fine. Take a deep breath. The poor and the oppressor have this in common. The Lord gives sight to the eyes of both. We got to play the hands we're dealt. And it's not for us to say what's just or unjust. To discipline a child produces wisdom, but a mother's disgraced by an undisciplined child. Man, this is like our modern problem, right? Especially in some communities with more lack of fathers than others. Mom's just doing the best she can to keep the household afloat and keep everybody from starving. Meanwhile, the kid just gets to do whatever they want. And then eventually they do something stupid. And the mom's on the news saying, why, my baby loved everybody. He didn't do no wrong, nobody. And, well, how'd he get himself in that situation? When people do not accept divine guidance, they run wild. But whoever obeys the law is joyful. Yeah, there's a way. If you follow it, it makes life easy. Easy might be the wrong thing. It gives you peace. There's more hope for a fool than someone who speaks without thinking. So it's not just like fools can know restraint too, right? Versus speaking before you hear it all, or speaking before you know both sides, or speaking before you consider, or if you react emotionally. An angry person starts fights, and a hot-tempered person commits all kinds of sin. Once again, it's preaching to the choir, constantly working on it myself, because I find both of these to be true. When I don't take a breath and take a moment to stifle myself, I'm quick to react poorly. Pride ends in humiliation. Yeah, that's Satan. While humility brings honor. And that's what Jesus said. The least of you will be the greatest in the kingdom. So you need to be servants to each other. If you assist a thief, you only hurt yourself, because you're sworn to tell the truth, but you dare not testify. How much of our government and big corporations fit this bill right now? And those that do testify or whistleblow meet the icy hand of death, commit suicide by shooting themselves in the back of the head a couple times, or drowning themselves in a shallow creek behind their house. Just look into some of the people that whistleblew on the Clintons for those specific examples. Fearing people is a dangerous trap, but trusting the Lord means safety. So don't get caught up on, what will they do to me if I don't say what I'm supposed to say for political correctness, right? Political correctness or incorrectness. It's factually correct. It's politically incorrect. You can't say that. That's dangerous. Just trust the Lord. Whatever happens, happens. He's in control. Because many seek the ruler's favor, but justice comes from the Lord. And we've got the opposing sides here, right? The righteous despise the unjust. The wicked despise the godly. I despise that you're out there doing things that are not good for me and society and even yourself. And the other side's like, how dare you tell me how to live my life? Alright, I was waiting for a delivery here. I just delivered almost $1,500 worth of taco bar. So my car smells amazing. So I need to go find something to eat, and I am out of coffee, which is probably the more important thing. And I got about 5 hours, 6 hours, till I got to report to a shift. So hopefully I can pick up another shift in that meantime, or this will pick up. Maybe I'll do Uber Eats and DoorDash, but what is it? It's Wednesday in the middle of the day. I hate to leave and go spend money, but still in the process of organizing my house, and there are a couple things I'd like to get from IKEA shelves. And that's way more fun than just putting it in on a giant order. But I do need to do that because we're remodeling the bathroom. So got a whole bunch of stuff I got to take care of. Making slow progress, but visible at least, which is helpful. Got a lot of people in my heart. I'm praying for them that don't know. The Lord will call them as He wills. I've been praying directly for my homie that I was talking about, that Jesus appears to him, because he's no stranger to visions and dreams. So I've been asking for Jesus to encounter him and to show him the real Jesus, because he believes he's encountered Jesus. To be more specific, he believes he's encountered the Christ. So this is more New Age, New Thought mixed with Christianity than it is Orthodox gospel. So I'm praying that the Lord shows himself to him. My bestie, he's ready to move from across country all the way to Los Angeles. And I pray the same for him, that he encounters the Lord in a very real way. And then my grandmother and grandfather, we took communion this week, and I got a little glimmer of hope. Because after communion, or as we finished, Pastor Mike said, Christ has died, Christ has risen, Christ has come again. So on top of all the other doctrine and dogma of the Catholic Church, I realized if they believe that, if they not just say it, but if they actually believe that in their hearts, they'll be saved, right? Or I spoke to my mom, and she seems to think that they have done church all these years as just social expectation. Maybe some, for morality's sake, but not a living faith. And I want to continue to pray for them. And, I thought maybe I need to fast for a day as I pray specifically for that. So stand by for that. Like or comment if you watch this and you're willing to join that effort with me. I've also asked my buddy to do Discovery Bible with me online, like an episode. And he was interested. Now I'm wondering if he's less interested now that he realizes, I'd really like to delve into the scriptures and go by sola scriptura. We're going to figure it out. Step by step. Also, I heard something from Pints with Aquinas yesterday about guardian angels. So I had to go down that rabbit hole because, again, sola scriptura, not extra big biblical documents or pseudepigrapha or whatever. I want to know what I can find on just that. All right, with that, go with God. Be blessed.